I laugh a lot during the shoot, especially when I have my camera and I'm taking the pictures. And for example, there is a couple kissing each other and I'm like, wow, yes, I love it. Oh, I love it. So I'm always laughing that I sound like a pervert. Sorry.
The goal isn't to live forever. The goal is to create something that will.
Welcome to Perspective, a podcast for wedding creatives where we sit down, often with a special guest, and talk about our many years of experience in the wedding industry so that you can learn from us and grow your wedding business. If what you love is shooting elopements and intimate weddings, then this episode is going to be for you because we are introducing you to Scottish-based rangefinder rising star of 2021, Bernadeta Kupiec, whose love for authentic emotional photography has catapulted her work onto platforms such as Junebug, Something Blue Weddings, Whimsical Wonderland Weddings, and more. Let's get to know Bernadeta and her photographic journey thus far. I want to talk to her about her who's, her what's, her why's, her when's, and her how's in this episode. An episode, of course, which is sponsored by With Jack, and new sponsor to the show, Wooden Banana, but I will get onto that a little bit later in the show. For our video watchers out there, you may have realized that Greg is not beside me. So I can't ask Greg what we're drinking because I have brewed myself my own coffee because his family is ill. But we're still joined.
What are you drinking then?
We're still joined by Greg. I am drinking Night Swim coffee. What I've got here on the
you got the good stuff.
It's the good stuff. I've got here Floriberto area, pink bourbon. You got flavor notes of cantaloupe, golden raisin, rose, lemon zest. It's a Colombian, and it's a washed. So very, very cool. Greg, what are you drinking over at your house? Thank you for actually joining us today, by the way, Greg.
I have brewed up an AeroPress with whatever beans I had lying around, and I think they were the hard lines beans that we had a couple of months ago. So they're a bit old now.
A couple of months?
They're doing the trick.
Oh my God.
They're doing the trick.
Oh my God. And we're also joined by Bernadeta. Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thanks.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, my heart is still racing. It's like
You'll be fine. Like Greg and I were saying. like Greg and I were saying before we hit record, you'll be absolutely fine. And it's basically a chat about the stuff that we love, why we love it, and yeah, it's just a good time. It's just a good time.
Yeah.
So, Bernadeta, do you have a coffee there to help calm your racing heart?
No, I have water. Tap water. Still tap water. No. With coffee, I probably will have heart attack. So yeah. No, just water.
Very good, very good. Sorry if this is a bit of a clunky episode, listeners, just because there's 3 different locations. We might be a little bit slow. Although Greg has promised me his internet is better these days than what it was, but his laptop is still dying, so we'll see. Bernadeta, when we were chatting on Instagram, you were surprised that we wanted to speak to you on the podcast.
Yes.
Why?
Mostly because I started my photography journey, like wedding photography journey, last year. Like last year was the full year when I photographed weddings. I quit my job in April 2020, but my first wedding was in August, on 13th of August 2020. So I had about 4 months when I could rest after my very stressful job. And I still feel that there are other photographers who are more experienced, who have something more to tell. So yeah, mostly because of that.
Yeah, well, the way I see it is you've not been photographing long, but so far you have accumulated the accolade of a rising star, which is no mean feat. So perhaps the rest of us are doing something wrong. But yeah, I also find it strange that I mean, obviously you've not been going for that long, but we haven't met in person, which I do find a little bit strange, just because we both love to shoot elopements.
Good to know. Yeah.
Maybe in time we shall work together.
Someday.
Someday.
Yeah, but being new to the industry is also something that's quite good for our listeners to hear from, because sometimes if they're new to the industry, it's hard to relate to other photographers who've been doing it for 5, 6, 7 years. Whereas hearing somebody else's perspective who's in the same position as them, but being really successful, could be good for them.
Yeah. This is something what I can tell about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry for my voice. I had problem with my sinus, so my voice doesn't sound like that usually.
That's all right. That's fine.
I hope you're feeling better.
Yes, it's much better at this moment. It was much worse a week ago.
Oh man. No, that's absolutely.
So have you been out shooting recently?
Oh my goodness, I had the wedding 2 weeks ago. Oh, sorry, 2 weeks ago. Oh my goodness, I can't remember. 2 weeks ago. Sorry, no, it was 2nd of April. I have no idea. No, I'm wrong. What's today? 20 something, yeah?
27th, is it? I think it's the 27th.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I had the wedding, not last Saturday, but 2 weeks ago on Saturday. It was my last wedding. And then on Tuesday, the same week. So 2 weeks ago, sorry.
And were they both elopements as well?
I don't have any fever. No, the first one was like a mix of elopement, intimate wedding. The second one was intimate wedding, but the couple, they dreamed about having an elopement. They couldn't because of parents. So.
Yeah. Ugh, bloody parents, honestly. Get your own wedding.
Yeah. That's true.
Actually, talking about your voice being sore, your throat being sore.
Yeah.
It reminded me of a couple of conversations that I had at Thrive with a couple of individuals who have been listening to the podcast, but put my face with Greg's voice and Greg's face with my voice. Which I think must have been pretty strange for them to meet us in person. But now that we're kind of split up, maybe it's easier for people to understand that I am Simon and that the other guy is Greg.
And I am Greg.
And he's Greg.
Okay.
So just for our listeners out there.
And I'm Bernadeta.
Yeah. So just for our listeners out there, Simon's voice is the voice that you hear speaking most often. And he's the bigger guy with the beard. In fact, while I'm on Thrive, I should thank Lisa Devlin. So Bernadeta, I don't know if you know this, but the past, well, not last episode, but the past 6 episodes, or thereabout, we've been doing a collaboration with Photography Farm. And we were sent this as a gift from Lisa Devlin. So thank you, Lisa, for the wonderful gift. I don't know if there's anything in it. Hang on.
It was full of chocolate, but it's not now.
It's completely empty. Thank you.
You didn't share with me.
Sorry.
Oh no.
So yes, thank you.
Yeah, that arrived, and I think I ate most of the chocolate, and then left Simon 1 bar.
Yeah, I think I got a little bit more than 1 bar, but yeah, I have been eating your buttons. You left on your desk, Greg. You have no more buttons. They're gone. In your face.
They were for sharing.
Because sharing's caring. Yeah. So thank you again, Lisa.
But I let Simon go Thrive alone, which was a bad decision.
What are you talking about? It's a great decision.
He went and played with the Sony cameras from the guy from Sony.
It's a great decision.
And look what happened.
I got
We've now got
for our video
two
watchers.
A7S3s. We've got an A7 IV.
It's great.
And a whole bunch of primes.
We've completely moved brand. We were Panasonic and Canon, and since my experience was with these Sony cameras was so positive, I decided to go the Sony route, which is also meant that we could go the prime route, because as videographers, I might get this wrong, but I think most videographers out there or filmmakers tend to go for zoom lenses for live event shooting. I could be wrong in that. Do correct me if you are a videographer that uses primes, please. So it'll be a little bit of an interesting way of working, since we have been shooting for over 10 years, 11 years. Are we 12 years now, Greg? I can't remember. With shooting
I think
zooms.
it's 11.
It's 11 years. So this will be our first wedding shooting with primes. So I'm excited to learn more about them, to be honest. So yeah.
Amazing.
Am I right in saying that you're a Marvel fan, Bernadeta? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, I am. I love the specific sense of humor in the movies, so this is why I love it.
Ah, okay. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy type humor?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's more or less like Avengers humor. So...
Okay, yeah.
Something... I cannot explain it. It's like this specific kind of humor, which I like the most.
Okay. So what do you think of like recent shows like Moon Knight? That's the most recent one. Have you checked that out yet on Disney Plus?
Not yet.
It's the one with oh my goodness, what's that guy's name?
Oscar Isaac.
No, I haven't.
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac, yeah.
Right.
So, no, yeah. I haven't watched it yet.
Okay. There's not much humor in it, so I don't know if you'll like it as much. But yeah, it's all right. It's a bit weird. It's a bit strange. Have you watched it, Greg?
Yeah, I started it, but it's, again, running theme with the sleep deprivation and little baby Dexter taking up all my time. I can't focus on it, and it's definitely a show where you need to concentrate, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of like.
And it's definitely a darker one for Marvel.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to continue with it until I feel like I can dedicate time to watching it. It looks good.
Fair enough. I'm going to do a Patreon note just here. If you want to hear more perspective content, you can follow us on Patreon at patreon.com/perspective by Cinemate. You can sign up for as little as £1 and get the extra content there when we release it. For those of you who don't know, we actually do a Q&A section at the end of every podcast. If you support us on Patreon, you can get that content. It's about half an hour worth of extra content per episode. So if that interests you, you should definitely go there. Now, I'm in control of this desk, and I've forgotten which button does the next section. Let's take a wee guess.
Press that yellow button, Simon.
Yes, I got it first time. First time. What a car crash of a podcast. Bernadeta, in your own words, who are you and what do you do?
Oh my goodness, I was preparing for this question and I don't have an answer. So, I am Bernadeta. I am 37 at this moment. I'm a Scotland intimate wedding and elopement photographer. I was born in Poland and I moved here to Scotland more than 7 years ago. I fell in love with this place and I'm so happy that I can call it home at this moment.
Yes.
Yeah, nice. So you mentioned you're a Marvel fan. So
yes.
Tell us, and you also kind of touched on how you got into wedding photography, but tell us your origin story in wedding photography.
So I think it started ages ago. I was always dreaming about shooting girls in a beautiful dresses, like layers moving on the wind, dancing with the wind, something like that. Then I shoot my first wedding in Poland. To be honest, I completely forgot about this. It was ages ago. I can't even remember how many. It was about 10, 11 years ago.
Okay.
It was a very short wedding, 2 hours, that's all.
Oh, wow.
Then I moved to Scotland, and I was working half year in Scotland during the summertime, then half year in Poland during the winter time, so out of wedding season. So that's why when I moved here, I was too scared to do weddings, mostly because I was thinking that my English isn't good enough, and you need English to communicate with the couple, to understand what they need, what they want, and to be able to discuss even some stuff. So that's why I was always thinking my English isn't good enough, and I still think my English isn't good enough. So sorry sometimes for my accent. So then, 3 years ago, I wrote a message to a wedding photographer from Dundee. And I asked if I can be the second shooter. So this was my first wedding in Fingas Castle. Then I went to photography workshop with Mark Pacura and styled shoot with Photography Farm, so with Lisa Devlin in Glencoe. And then in the meantime, I shoot my first wedding for the Polish couple nearby. So it was as well something cheap, something short. Then I did 3 weddings 1 year. The third one was in Gretna Green, and there is a really funny story behind that wedding.
Oh, yeah?
I like to be early before each wedding. So I knew that this one is very, very far from my home. It was about 130 miles, something like that one way.
Yep.
So I was about 3 hours before, just in case. And I locked everything inside my car, like everything.
Oh no.
My cameras, my car key.
Oh no.
I had only my phone with me. So 130 miles away from home. So you are the first people who hear the story. So it was the first time as well when I saw and learned how you can break into your car. I paid for this about £80.
Oh man!
Wow.
Yeah. So how?
Yes.
Is there a technique? Is there a teach us how to break into our cars?
No, there was some guy who arrived, and I still had about 2 hours, 1 hour, something like that before the wedding. So I still had time. I had to wait about 1 hour until this guy came. And yes, he tried to open the car. He said, just in case, we'll smash the window. Okay.
Cool.
Oh god.
So yeah.
Oh man. I think that's all of our.
So it was.
It's a worst nightmare of everyone's, I'm sure. Like that and having your equipment stolen.
No. Yeah, there was another one I was worried about during this fuel crisis, that I will be in the middle in Glencoe, somewhere out of phone service, anything like that, without any fuel. So I was like, oh my gosh, I hope it won't happen to me.
Yeah.
So this was my third wedding.
Third wedding.
And then 2020 came.
Okay.
Nice beginning.
Yeah. Damn.
So then it was the third wedding. 2020 year. Lockdown happened. I quit my job. I was bullied at this work, so it was very stressful. I said I had to do something, and it was like, I spoke with my model lately, with one of the models, and it was the reason, because I was too afraid to quit the job. So after this bullying, I was like, this or that. So I realized I don't want to die. It was because of COVID. So at the beginning, no one know what's going on, what's going to happen. Especially it was some new virus, very deadly, something like that. So like from horror movies. So I was like, okay, either I will die in my work. in the job which I don't like, which is very stressful, not knowing what I can get, what I can achieve, or I will just quit it and live the life which I always dream about.
Mm-hmm. And what?
Yes.
What were you doing at that time? What was your first job?
I was working in the office, so it was accounting, HR staff, office worker, something like that. So mix of few things.
Yeah. And just
quite different from what you do now.
Yes. Completely different.
Yeah. So had you, I mean, obviously you'd shot in Poland. Did you say the wedding was 2 hours? That doesn't sound like a Polish wedding to me. I know they're very long, are they not? Famously long.
It wasn't the traditional wedding.
Okay.
So it was only the ceremony, some pictures after, and that's all.
Yeah, okay.
So a very, very small one. Yeah.
Fair enough. Just as well, I heard they can last days.
Yes, mostly one whole day till the 3 a.m., 4 a.m. next day.
Yeah.
Sometimes 2-3 days. So you have wedding after wedding, wedding after the wedding, after the wedding. But yeah.
Awesome. So you did Mark Procura's workshop. Was that the one in Loch Lomond?
Yes.
Was that at Loch Lomond?
No.
Okay.
No, it was in Glasgow. It was in Glasgow in his house. It was mostly about marketing, business stuff. We had a style shoot with Lena Sabala. I think you know her. And with her partner, Patrick. So yeah, it was this one.
Very cool. Very
lovely.
cool. Yeah. Because there was a few
and
years...
And then Photography Farm.
And we love Photography Farm as well. I can't say enough good things about Photography Farm, to be honest. And Lisa, if you want me to do any more podcasts, I will happily do all the podcasts for you. I'll do them all. So, Bernadeta, you've quit your job. You've started doing weddings. Like, what motivates you now to keep doing weddings?
I don't know. I think telling the stories, like being a part of this beautiful, amazing day, this special day, and being able to capture all these moments, especially after lockdown. Maybe I think as well because my family is still in Poland, so we are far away from each other.
Yeah.
And we were very close to each other. So I am thinking as well about like me being a photographer on the wedding is like a very special role. So I am there to document each moment, mostly because as well the bride is very often very stressful, so she can't remember some parts of the day. Both of them are not for all the time in each place, so they are not able to see what's happening.
Yeah.
So like being able to document this the day, what's happened, like capturing these funny moments when someone is laughing, when someone is doing some funny face expression, surprises, like all these moments which matter and which create this beautiful story together.
Oh, I love that. You know what? Talking about stressed brides, and I'm gonna move away from your work there, Bernadeta, because I haven't really spoken to Greg much about the wedding that he shot over the weekend that I wasn't involved with, and I heard through our third camera guy, Tom, JD Armstrong, that it was a little bit stressful and chaotic. Am I right in saying that, Greg?
Yeah. So there was no reason that it should have been stressful because it was a garden wedding in their garden. Possibly that's the only sort of saving grace that there could be for someone being stressed, is that the wedding was in their own garden. So they put up a marquee, 110 guests in the garden, and for some reason, it was two brides, and for some reason one of them was just really, really highly strung on the day.
Oh, wow.
When it was a very relaxed day, everything was happening in the same place. She was getting ready off-site, came in, and the day ran smoothly, but she was just quite uptight, which was a shame because it's your wedding day. You want to be able to enjoy it, and I think she did enjoy it, so I'm sure it's fine. But you want to relax and enjoy the moment, and I'm not sure if she could fully do that. But yeah, it made the day a bit more stressful for us as well.
Yeah,
but we got there.
And Tom mentioned that there might have been some technical issues. What happened there?
One of the wee Sony audio recorders on the handheld mic, which is usually like a really good source, perfect either backup or main source. And because of the dress that this bride was wearing, she wasn't really able to be mic'd up properly. So we went with the handheld Sony as the main source and a microphone at the speaker for the backup.
Okay.
And halfway through her speech, she was just like, "Oh, there's a bit of signal interference. It must be this thing that's on the handheld mic. Just take that off." And Tom and I were just looking at each other going, it's there for a reason. But we couldn't really run in and interrupt the speeches for that. Actually, I possibly would have, but the way the room was set up, I would have had to run out the marquee, round the back, in the back, and then to the table. So it would have taken ages to get there.
Okay.
And I was just like, I just have to hope that the backup's good. And when I got home back to the office that night, I checked the backup and I was like, peace of mind. It's usable. Like, it's not ideal, not what we'd want, but it's usable.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
So, yeah.
Oh, so every time I feel like I've left you and Tom to shoot a wedding, it's been a bit crazy. Which I think the last time, probably not the last time, but one of the main times, Bernadeta, that I left Tom and Greg to do a wedding, because we had two weddings on the same day, and funnily enough, my wedding was at Fingas Castle, I think. Was it Fingas? And Greg.
No, you were at Fask.
Oh, Fask, that's right, Fask. And Greg, you were at Guardswell, that's one. And the wedding ended up being viral for the groom being so drunk he was being fed by his mother-in-law his dinner. And it made it onto Lad's Bible and all, not our video, because we wouldn't do that to our client, but other people had taken videos on their phone of the groom being this drunk, and it made its way around the internet. And I just feel sorry. And maybe fortunate that every wedding I seem to do is wonderful. Anyway, enough of that. Bernadeta, just describe your style of photography for those who haven't seen any of your images or don't know your work.
I was worried about this question because, to be honest, I have no idea what's my style. It's like very often you can hear like this cinematic, fine art wedding photographer, and I don't know. It's like, I think, documentary style.
Okay.
With some kind of some kind of nostalgia, some kind of. A lot of people tells me like my pictures looks whimsical, something like that.
Okay.
It's mostly because I love Lord of the Rings and other stuff, so that's why I love this style. So yeah. And I love capturing moments like unique moments which are happening, especially during speeches, dances. During the moment, something like that. So I made a challenge for myself, especially for this year. So on each wedding, I want to do something more creative, at least one very creative picture. So something completely different, or try to find a different angle, different like look at the things. So something like that. This is my challenge for this year.
Very cool. What motivated
I know that I can.
Yeah. What motivated you to challenge yourself?
Can you repeat?
What motivated you to challenge yourself like that?
What motivated me?
Yeah.
What I was, I think it was Jennifer Moher, some kind
fantastic.
of video which I watch. Oh yes, she is.
Yeah.
So I saw her pictures, and this is the main reason. And to be honest, I love challenging myself in every aspect of my life. So that's why I was like, I don't want to take like the pictures which everyone is taking. I want to do something different from time to time. So this is the main reason. Yeah.
Very cool.
So it's a good mindset to have going into a wedding, trying to just always do something slightly different, always improve, always tweak, keep the creativity going.
Exactly.
Yeah. So are you a solo shooter? Do you shoot alone on weddings, or do you ever take a second?
Mostly, yes. Sometimes my husband is helping me, mostly because last year I had about 40 weddings. So we were traveling all around Scotland. And so either I could travel alone and don't spend time with my husband, or he could travel with me. I could, at the beginning, he was sitting in the car for 2-3 weddings, but because he knew camera settings, he knows how to shoot landscapes. So I asked him to help me, like standing around, taking pictures. So this is how we started. So after 10 weddings, he was getting better and better and better. So we did around 30 weddings last year.
Okay.
Wow.
This year, he's going with me for a few weddings as well. So we'll try keep this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So yeah, we can spend more time together.
And and you trust him. You trust him with a camera. He's a good photographer as well.
To be honest, I had my camera. It was Canon 5D Mark III, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, my ISO starts at 200 and above."
Uh-huh.
And he came to me. He said, "No, you have 100. You just need to change settings." so he's more technical with this stuff. I know the basics. I'm not very technician with camera. I know how to shoot, what the settings should be.
Yeah.
But he's more like in this technical stuff. So I'm like, okay, so he's sometimes learning me something new. And I am using my camera for cameras for about 10 years and above. So yes.
Yeah, we've talked to enough podcast guests who are more creative minded than technical minded. And to be honest, it really does not matter whether or not honestly, I could roll up, shoot automatic all day and probably still create something amazing. I really do think that so what were you gonna say?
The funny story, it's like, because I don't know, sometimes it's like everyone needs to be perfect. Everything needs to be perfect. So my last wedding, maybe not last, but from this year, was the wedding when I set my 35 Sigma and 85, but we were in the room. The room was quite small, so I changed 35 to 24. Okay. And I forgot that I changed to 24. So I shoot everything after on 24, and I came back home and I was like, why I shoot this on 24? I changed it to 35. And I was like, what happened? And then I was like, oh my gosh, I changed it in the room, and then I forgot to change to 35. So yes, I'm not perfect.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I have a funny feeling, because we've been shooting Zooms for years, that that's going to happen with either Greg or myself. No doubt that is absolutely going to happen.
Yeah.
So
there's going to be times as well that we're filming and we try and rotate and we're like, oh, it's not zooming, damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's broken.
Yeah. Oh no, it's broken. Why did I upgrade this bit? Oh my god, yeah.
So you mentioned that you shot sort of 40 weddings last year. How many do you normally aim for in a year?
Not more than 30. It's like the last year was my first full-time year, so I didn't know what's my limit, how many I can shoot. This year I don't want to shoot more than 30 weddings.
Okay.
Mostly because I am planning to travel a little bit as well, and I would love to be like, I dream about, maybe someone is listening, I dream about shooting a wedding in Tuscany.
Tuscany, okay. All right.
Yes, it's my dream.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Would you be okay second shooting for someone in Tuscany?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
I would.
Okay.
I would. It's always like one step closer, one step closer. If not, I will create something by myself.
Yeah.
So,
very
yeah.
cool. Very cool. No, I love that. Listeners, if you've got a wedding in Tuscany and you need a second shooter, you know who to call first, okay?
Yes, I would love to.
Yeah.
So did you feel that last year, obviously you did more than what you're doing or planning to do in the future? Did you feel that doing the 40 pushed you to your limit? Did you have struggles doing that amount?
I think it wasn't so bad. October was the worst. I had about 10 weddings during 1 month. And I was quite stressed that you are going to shoot the wedding, but then you need to edit the pictures, and then you need to do this whole process after as well. And in between you have other stuff. And I was traveling here and there. So I think this was the main reason. Like, I don't want to shoot, like, even 40 weddings. It's like, I would like as well do some private projects. 40 weddings, it's quite a lot for me.
Yeah.
So that's why I will see how will I feel with 30 weddings. And then if that will be necessary, I will go down.
Mm-hmm. And what sort of personal projects would you like? Do you have in mind any personal projects that you would want to tackle?
I would love to do more editorial stuff, like in a wedding dress, more portrait shoots, because this is something what I started with.
Uh-huh.
I started to doing portrait shoots for a really, really long time. I already did 2 private shoots, like private projects this year. And because I have 3 weddings in May, so 2 or 3, I can't remember, something like that, I still have 2 first week free. So I'm thinking, maybe I can do something for myself. So to be more creative, to push myself further and discover some, I don't know, new techniques or try something new. I was mostly doing something outside. So I would like to try do the editorial inside.
Okay.
Something a little bit different, because when you look at the grid on my Instagram account, you can see green color.
Oh yeah, I have it open, by the way, because
so it's like everywhere is green. So that's why I was thinking to do something maybe still with like dark backdrop.
Yeah.
But not outside. I don't know why I'm fascinated by natural light going through the window. So like chiaroscuro effect, this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I'm with you on that one.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So something like that.
Very cool. I actually have to say that was one thing that I absolutely loved about your portfolio, just in general, was your greens. It's something that I struggle with, but I will get onto the more creative chat in a minute. But I do want to know,
Okay.
Going back to kind of the more businessy aspect, what when you shoot a wedding, an elopement, or a couple shoot, what do you create for your couples?
That's a good question. And my brain is like started working quite loudly. So what I create in the aspect of like preparation before, or
No, funnily enough, a little bit backwards. What do you give them at the end? Like, what is the final product?
Okay. So that's why my brain was like, ooh.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I don't. We like to like to start at the back and then work our way forward.
Okay, so I always send the online gallery It as well depends on the package, but I always send the online gallery. I use PicTime.
Yay.
It's not sponsored.
We love PicTime.
I use PicTime. Yeah, it's amazing. What else? So I like using wooden banana boxes. Yes, as you mentioned them at the beginning.
Yes.
It's not sponsored as well. I'm using them for 2 years, something like that. So I sent like prints in this box. I always send a box with, I don't know, some treats inside. So, I don't know, candles, dried flowers, chocolate, a thank you card, something like that. I'm still thinking what else I can change here. But this is more or less what I send.
Yeah. Very cool.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah. And I have to say, like, if you haven't seen wooden banana boxes, they are a wonderful product to give clients, and we were actually going to go with wooden banana, funnily enough. However, they were so good that because typically when photographers finish their gallery, we haven't even started the wedding film. So a couple received this lovely wooden banana box, and we were going to go down the wooden banana box, but then we thought, well, then they're just going to have 2 wooden banana boxes. So we spent a lot of time trying to find another way of delivering our physical product. And my goodness, Mark made it difficult. And it's still, like, our boxes are cool. They're cardboard printed boxes and stuff. And there's whiskey inside with 2 glasses and a little USB with their film and a lovely booklet of Greg and I on the mountains being eaten by midges. But man, those wooden banana boxes are amazing. Hey Greg, do you fancy talking about wooden banana for a bit?
What, you mean the albums they make?
Yeah, hang on. Let's play some of the videos for our viewers.
Look at that.
These look so good.
Do you know anyone that likes making albums for their clients?
No. I mean, that's why we're filmmakers, so we don't have to do that.
But Wooden Banana, they've sort of simplified the process for everybody. So it's less options, less confusion, usually means more sales. They've got a free album designer for you. They've got editable guides that you can work from. They've just made ordering and selling albums as easy as possible.
Yeah, and I mean, we've mentioned this already, but how good do they fucking look?
Yeah.
Those covers, they come in like a classic linen fabric to a more unique suede and velvet. I mean, I have seen these in person as well. They were at the Thrive workshop that we have continually mentioned on this podcast many a time. They do feel great. I'm not gonna lie. And speaking to Mark, hi! They are actually affordable, which makes selling them worth your time, which is like hugely important. So, I mean, you can't really do much better. Plus,
Yes, you can.
What?
You can do better because if you use the code PERSPECTIVE and register today, you can get 50% off your first sample album. Check that out.
Okay, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. We do bring it for our listeners. Enjoy that promo code. Beautiful products for photographers looking to grow their business through bespoke customer service. Wooden banana. Wooden banana, baby.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough love for wooden banana. Just
okay. I like Mark.
It'd probably be useful for some people listening to sort of hear how you came up with your sort of packaging, your sort of package that you offer couples, and in terms of like pricing and stuff. Because obviously, last year was sort of first full year. You did 40. You're now cutting that down. So have you had to adjust pricing to take into account that you're limiting the number of weddings?
Yes, so my price increased a little bit, mostly as well because I invested in myself a lot. So I love learning. I don't like staying in one place. So I love learning. I love evolving. So I invested a lot in myself, in the gear as well. So yes, my price is increased since last year.
Yeah, cool. And did you decide? Did you mention packages? Do you do like an elopement package, an intimate package, or do you have a la carte options as well?
I have 3 packages for elopements, like 4, 6, 8 hours.
Right.
And I have at this moment 3 packages for weddings. So you have only digital options, so you can get only digital pictures in online gallery. Then you have extra package, which is with the box. And the last one is like more advanced, with second shooter, with box, with other stuff like photo album, something like that.
Yeah.
And are there any?
So yeah.
Are there any extras that clients can add on to their package?
Sometimes they can have as well pre-wedding shoot if they would like to. If they would like to go for like with elopements, especially today's adventure, so I offer something like that as well. Yeah.
I love that. I love the second day shooting on an elopement.
I'm going to have one like that this year, so it will be quite a good experience.
Yeah. Oh no, it is so good. We actually had a lovely experience up in Skye, going up the Old Man. On the second day, and it was just nice just to like have the formalities done. You know, the couple are wedded. They're not as stressed if they are stressed on an elopement, and it's just, you know, you just get to know them a little bit better, and I think that's super important. Yeah. So when you go to make you know, their film or their gallery, you know what kind of things that they're going to like a little bit more than if you had just offered them the Q&A or a form to fill out. So, yeah it's cool.
Yeah. Sorry, my throat.
No, it's okay.
It's all right. I feel like I'm drowning in coffee. Like, I've finished the whole craft. It's
I have
ridiculous.
Second mug. I have another one as well, just in case.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. We'll all need a toilet break. My goodness.
We mentioned earlier that we've just switched to Sony. We've joined the dark side.
Yeah.
So what's in your kit bag? Did you say you were Canon? Are you still Canon?
Yes, I'm Canon, and I was buying my new gear last year. It was August, something like that.
Okay.
And I was thinking about mirrorless, but then I said no. I'm going to stay with full frame Canon FD Mark IV. I'm really, I don't know, maybe because mirrorless is too advanced, like technical advanced. And I like to, I don't know, I really like the camera which I have at this moment. So yes, I'm Canon. I have Canon lenses, 2 Canon lenses and 2 Sigma lenses.
And what focal length? You mentioned you had a 24.
Yes, the newest baby, 35. It was, oh my goodness, I'm trying to, I love 50 millimeters.
Yeah.
So this is my favorite ever one. So if I will have to choose only one lens, this one will be the only one. I have as well 85. So at this moment, I'm trying to push myself into combo 35 and 85.
Okay.
So I did one wedding. I thought 2, but the second one was with 24, not 35. So yes, I did only one wedding at this moment with this combo, and it's quite okay.
Yeah.
It's mostly because I try, I don't know, I feel 30, like 50 the most. It's the lens which with I worked for a long time, and I really love it. It's amazing for portraits and photos outside, but I'm trying to learn seeing through 35 at this moment.
And are you finding that an easy process to change the way you see things?
When I do landscapes, people seem to be so small. So that's why I say, no. So yeah, I think this is the worst for me. The worst lens at this moment is 24. Sometimes when I'm shooting inside, and you have walls, it's like the angles are I don't know,
Yeah.
so strange. And sometimes the legs are, when you try to straighten them up, the legs seems to be so like strangely long.
Oh man, okay. What is the 24 that you've gone for?
Sigma.
Sigma. Is it a Sigma art lens?
Yes, Sigma
Okay.
art lens. Yeah,
Okay.
this one.
Interesting. I don't have any experience with the 24 Sigma art, but I would be interested to hear anyone else's experience with that. So hit us up in your DMs for Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bought it mostly because I used 50 as like, it was my main lens. So that's
Yeah.
why I bought 24 to have this like more or less like proportion, something like that. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why. But
I get
I'm
you.
not using it very often.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, a 24, I used to always go for a 24-70. It was always my go-to. And usually when we were shooting at like 4K at 50p, that would crop in by a...
Yeah.
So it would be a kind of like an APS-C crop
Yeah.
on your sensor. But I recently got... Oh, obviously, because we got a whole stack of lenses. I have on this thing the Sony 20 millimeter, which that's the 1.8, which I think is going to be incredibly wide. But I bought it with the motivation of this being the kind of the backup angles to see the whole room, but also my kind of go-to for dancing, because I really like to get in. I like to get into a ceilidh. And
Yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I think that would be a rather fun lens. So I'm because I haven't used any of this kit yet. I'm still I'm excited. I'm a bit antsy to get out there and shoot. But yeah, I think our next one's another Sky elopement. So there won't be a ceilidh then, which I'm disappointed about. But hey-oh.
You can always dance. Some.
Yeah,
Alone.
exactly. So you mentioned your bodies, you mentioned your lenses. Is there anything else in your kit bag that you use? Do you carry a flash on you? Do you have any extra batteries, memory cards, like all that kind of good stuff?
Always. I have about 10 batteries inside my bag.
Whoa, nice.
Just in case. I always like to be prepared, just in case.
Okay.
I have about like a box with, I don't know, there is as well about 10 memory cards inside, something like that.
Okay.
Just in case.
Yeah.
So I like to be prepared. I have 2 flashlights.
Okay.
I use them mostly with dancing, like in the evening when the light is really dark.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I have no idea. It's like they are set as I bought them. So
Yeah.
I don't like flashlights, but I know that sometimes you need to use them. So that's why I have one which I discovered last time on Obscura workshop with Olivia and Dan. So it's AI Canon flashlight.
Okay.
So it's moving by itself, like depends where it has to find a source of, like bouncing the light, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not very good with this technical stuff, so that's why.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. So I'm back scrolling through your feed there. Obviously, you don't post a lot of dancing.
No.
So I can't see any use of flash, and I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, that you're not going to use it outside as a fill, or would you?
No, I don't use any photos at this moment. Maybe I will put them into the grid when I will have like this few pictures in one post, something like that.
Yeah.
But yes, you can definitely find them on my website. So I try, and this is the best as well when I have second shooter. So when my husband was helping me, so he was the person who is doing safe shot for me, and I was usually standing at the back trying to use the natural light sometimes.
Yeah. Okay.
So the light which was in the room, sometimes I was playing with shutter speed. So this is something what I really like. And yeah, so this is the best sometimes when you have a second shooter.
Yeah.
So you can be more creative. You can do something different.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would agree. I think that's why probably Greg and I like to work together. I'm just browsing through your website again. Sorry. I don't see any use of prisms or anything like that. Do you use reflections or like when you're out? Do you use the water or what's your?
I don't like. I used only once the prism. It was during the photography workshop last year.
Oh yeah.
I got it from Gary. From Glasgow, I can't remember, like Rocks and Queens.
Yeah.
Gary Ferguson.
So,
Gary Ferguson
with this one. So he let me try it, but I don't feel it. So not at this moment. Maybe at some point. Mm-hmm. I love reflection. So this is something what I discovered lately. So playing with the mirrors. Yeah. I would love to try this, like reflection in your phone.
Oh yeah, when you kind of lie it flat.
Yes,
and you shoot,
yes. So I would like to. Yeah, I would like to try this one, but mostly when I can find some, I don't know, like mirrors on the wall.
Yeah.
So to set yourself in a specific position to take the picture.
Yeah. So in case our listeners, well, if you're watching this, awesome, I can show you. But quite often, what we do during preps, if I've forgotten my prism, I will whack out my phone, which is an iPhone 12, and I will just hold it up to the camera like this, if you can see. I know it's a dark room, I apologize. And you're just kind of shooting like that and tilting it, and you can get some really interesting reflections. And if you're shooting quite wide open, you can't tell it's a phone. So it's quite, the items that we have on our carry can still be quite useful for creating cool images. I
have a question. Do you take the cover from the phone when you shoot like that?
It really
sometimes that helps.
Yeah.
Especially because if you're using the front of the phone where the screen is, sometimes like it can auto turn on, and then that just ruins it.
Yeah.
So if you use the back where it's just pure black and shiny,
okay, yeah,
you don't run into that problem.
Okay. Why am I asking? It's quite hard to remove my one.
Yeah, no, it really depends on what cover, I suppose. I actually don't tend to do that because you can't really tell with my phone. There's a little bit of a lip on it, but I think for the most part, you're shooting so wide open, you don't really tend to notice it.
Okay, I need to try it.
Yeah, definitely. It's rather fun. Another thing is if you take your camera lens, you switch on your light and you just kind of like shoot with it with the light going into your lens. Although it's quite an artificial light. It is quite an artificial light. So, but that can be fun to create like weird flares and stuff. Just while we're talking about doing creative stuff with things that we have on us.
Sometimes I heard that you can as well use something glossy, something like that, but when you use the filter, not like on the lens. So you can do something like, so you have an effect of a foggy, something like that. Some people are breathing on the lens as well to achieve this, something like that. Sometimes happen by accident when there is a huge humidity. So it's like, why my pictures are so blurred?
Yeah. Well, do you use any filters on your camera lenses? Because so right now we shoot with a Pro Mist, a quarter strength Pro Mist on our lenses, as well as we've now got ND filters. But,
I am using at this moment only the filter to protect the lens. So it's I can't even remember the name of company. But
there's so many out there.
So many. Yeah. It's quite popular. But I can't remember.
Is it Tiffany?
No, not this one. Definitely not this one. Okay. It's the Hoya. Oh yeah, Hoya.
Hoya. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Hoya filter. So I am using mostly to protect the lens.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. By the way, if you don't have any lens covers at all, I would recommend you getting one because there's been a couple of times throughout my whole career that I've dropped a lens. Not that many, but the lens, the protective lens, the UV protection has saved my lens So that's definitely.
Yeah, it costs about £70. Depends on the dimension of the lens. And
Yes. Yeah, which is unfortunate if you're a Canon shooter because their RF glass is rather big. If you're a Sony shooter, well, the lenses are really tiny. I mean, I've had to, literally, you can see if you're watching this, we had old ND filters. But I've had to buy stepper rings because the Sony lenses are so small. I've had to buy 3 stepper rings just to use the ND filters. So, yeah. But yeah, so going back to Gary, by the way, Gary Ferguson, shout out to Gary Ferguson, because when I was at Photography Farm, he let me borrow his 35.
wow.
So he was one of the reasons that motivated me to get the new camera. So thank you, Gary. Greg probably doesn't like you anymore, but I like you. All right, so anything else in your camera bag that we haven't spoken about? Do you use flares at all? Flares? Smoke grenades? Do you use any
I used to smoke grenades only once. It was in Glencoe.
I was going to say...
I'm not carrying anything like that. It's too heavy.
Yeah.
So that's why, I'm not using 50mm prime lens because it's too heavy. And I was using 50mm 1.4, which cost, I don't know, £350, something like that. Yeah, this one.
I don't know if that's going to focus, but if you're watching this, you can see the image on.
The prime lenses cost about £1,200 and they are quite heavy. So 50mm is the lens which I always take with me in the mountains for any trips. It's the lightest ever lens I had so far.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because sometimes people think that they need to have very expensive cameras, very expensive lenses. Yes, they might sometimes help you, but I always think that you can take pictures with whatever you have, sometimes even with your iPhone.
Oh, yeah.
And
actually, that's where I thought you were going to go when you said that you'd locked your equipment in your car and you just had your phone. I thought you were going to say you were going to shoot with your phone.
Just in case, I was like, well, I had my phone with me, so...
Yeah. I mean, I've never done it, but you could probably do it pretty easily, to be honest. The majority of us know how to take a photograph. And as long as you have that base knowledge, the cameras are good enough, you could probably just... Yeah.
I'm saying it mostly because I know a few photographers who are waiting to get better gear to start doing something. But even when you have something, just start doing it. It's like you are closer, this one step closer to achieve your goals.
Yeah, just start.
Yeah,
just start. Absolutely. Just start and learn. I was doing photos for about 7 years on Canon 60D. So it's APS-C.
I mean, look, if you don't trust our word for it, look at the success of... I've totally forgotten what it's actually called. These kind of digital FaceTime sessions where you don't even need to be in the same room. You could be halfway around the world. Nikki Ledbetter, very good at these FaceTime sessions. Now, am I getting that right? Is that what they're called, FaceTime sessions?
Yeah, they started off as FaceTime sessions, but then there was software developed that did it for you. It was using your phone lens and sensor as the actual camera. The photographer just controlled it and put their processing on it. So that was an example of phone quality photos being used by professionals.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not gone away. In fact, I really do want to get Tim Dunk on the podcast because he is the... I don't want to... Did he create the idea? I don't know if that's the right word, but he started doing that, and obviously over COVID that became very popular, but they're still around. So, if they can do it, so can you.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm Ashley from With Jack. and one of the sponsors of the Perspective podcast. With Jack helps to keep photographers in business by supporting them financially and legally if they have problems with a client or they make a mistake in their work. We've all had that fear of our CF card or our hard drive failing and losing important photos. You can find out more at withjack.co.uk. Head over there and find out how we can help you be a confident creative.
All right, let's talk about some of the pre-production aspects of shooting an elopement or even an intimate wedding. Obviously, you mentioned that you were traveling around quite a bit with your husband. So what is involved with traveling and shooting, and how do you do it? What's your approach?
I get into the car with my kid.
Before you get into your car, if you can get into your car, I don't know.
Okay, so what's the process before?
Yeah.
So
the planning process.
My planning process. Oh my goodness, I love my planning process. So step by step what I'm doing. I love doing stuff like that. So I'm in touch with the couples through emails always before the wedding, like from the beginning when we sign the contract. Uh-huh. So we discuss all the things, and I always tell them that I'm very flexible, especially with the weather condition here in Scotland.
Oh yeah.
So if something happens, we can move the ceremony a little bit further. If the celebrant will agree as well, it's like the teamwork. I'm in touch with the couple. Mm-hmm. Then at the beginning, when I started my work, I didn't book an accommodation when I was shooting, I don't know, Glencoe, Cairngorm, somewhere further. But this year I started booking something. It's quite a long journey sometimes. Mm-hmm. And during the ceremony, like during the elopement, you feel that, yes, I still have power, but after that, I'm not I don't know, maybe it's adrenaline, something like that. Mm-hmm. When the wedding finish, you feel like so tired, so exhausted, and sometimes you think about this long journey back home. Oh yeah. So that's why I started booking some accommodation nearby as well. Then I go back home, do the backup of everything, and start the process of editing pictures.
Okay. So just for our listeners, because I don't think we covered this in the intro, where do you actually reside in Scotland?
In Fife, live in Fife. So I have about 3 hours to get to Glencoe.
Yeah, okay.
6 hours to get to Isle of Skye.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool, very cool. That's always good to know, just for a base. But no, we're the same. We can do Glencoe, that's absolutely fine. We can travel back on the same day. But it is, we are tired. I mean, I'm the one who drives, but it can be more tiring than an actual wedding day, I find.
Yeah, especially when you come back in the dark, when it's dark outside and you want to fall asleep, but no, you cannot. You need to drive.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when a couple come to you and say, "Hey, we're getting we're eloping," do you give them ideas for locations, or do they usually have an idea of where to go? And when they do have an idea, is it more of a general, hey, I want to get eloped in Glencoe area, I want to get eloped in Skye? Because these are pretty big areas. Mm-hmm. So
yes, sometimes I have the couples who ask me about specific location. Mm-hmm. So I can tell them pros and cons. Like, for example, the Quiric, it's a very crowded place. Old Man of Storr, it's a beautiful place, but it's very crowded during the day. So either sunrise or sunset, but you have to be careful even during the summertime with midges. So yeah, for example, if they ask about specific area, like maybe not specific, but general area, like Glencoe, I have already prepared a few guides on my website, so with few ideas where they can go. So these are these quiet places where they can go. Some of these locations have hidden gems where you can go as well. So yeah, this is more or less how the process looks like. If they have like in the Scotland area, I can send them these free guides like Cairngorms, Isle of Skye, Glencoe, and depends what would they like to, like mountains, forest, lochs, beaches, or something like that.
Yep.
I can advise where they can get married or where they can have their ceremony.
Yeah.
Is there any area in Scotland that on your travels personally you've been to and you're like, oh, I really want a couple to elope to this area? Like obviously because of Cairngorms and Glencoe, there's the popular areas, but is there somewhere else that you're like, oh, someone go there, please?
At this moment, I don't know. I'm like, I love the most Cairngorms area, mostly because of the trees, pine trees.
Yeah.
And as well, this is the best for like when you have sunny day, you have completely different light in the pine forest than in the leaves forest. So the green is completely different. And in the green forest, like the leaves forest, it's like the skin is very green. So that's why I prefer pine trees. And as well, like the, I don't know, even the smell, it's completely different. So yeah.
Yeah. So when you position yourself, like you chose to position yourself as an elopement, an intimate wedding photographer. When you did that, did you ever have any worries that, oh, if I'm photographing an elopement, it's only two people, the gallery might get a bit samey and there's not enough variety? And if you did have those worries, how did you combat them?
That's a good question. So yes, with I always think about this like a challenge. So yes, you have two people, but especially I work mostly with introverted people. So you need to find a way. I'm introverted as well, so that's why it's maybe a little bit better for me to like read the expression, read the emotion, how someone else can feel. So yes, it's a challenge. Sometimes it's quite hard, like to do. I don't know how to explain. It's like I try to avoid the same poses sometimes, but I have a few safe poses which I always use just in case. But the rest, it's like happening when we are going for a walk, when the couple is sitting somewhere, when we are wandering around.
Okay. Is that a challenge, being an introvert working so closely with a couple? Is that something you worry about? Because I know I have spoken to other photographers who also describe themselves as an introvert, and that is a worry of theirs. Do you have any tips to help the introvert?
Introvert couple or introvert photographer?
Photographer, yeah.
So yes, I'm introvert. I don't like crowded places like Edinburgh during the weekend, in a like touristic, like the months when there are too many people.
Yeah.
But I love, I don't know, it's like, maybe I'm introvert, but I love being with other people. I love listening their stories.
Okay.
So maybe this helps me a little bit. So I'm always very keen to listen someone's stories, what they made, how they met, even what they did the day before, what they did today. So this is something what helps me. I'm very curious about other people, and I think this helps me as well, being an introvert and being among people.
Okay. Do you befriend your couple on social media? Do you chat to them as if you are?
Often.
Yeah. And do you stay connected with them after?
Yeah. I try as much as I can.
Yeah.
Sometimes we like each other, like post. Sometimes we send a message to each other, like what we are doing or where we are traveling, something like that. So yes, I'm in touch with my couples even after the wedding.
Yeah, that's very cool. We like to do the same as well. Yeah, it's always nice. Even years down the line, like we'll see posts of what they're doing, and I won't always interact, but sometimes when I do, it's quite nice for them. That's quite nice for me as well, because I like reminiscing. I'm a reminiscer, you know. So yeah, you're at an elopement. What's your approach to shooting the ceremony? Do you work with the humanist or the celebrant to dictate where couples should stand and where the celebrant should stand? Do you have any input as to that, or
Yes, so at the beginning, it was my beginning, so I didn't know that I can ask about this. Or I was always like looking at other photographers' photos and I was, how they said these people like that. So yes, you need to ask about this. So I started, it was one of my first weddings with Rona Burstow, and she asked me where I would like to the couple to stand. And I was like, I can ask about this. Okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
So yes, so from that time, this is the best. Like, yes, you can be open, you can talk with your celebrant, and you can set the couple in a specific way. Sometimes it's a challenge because the couple would like to stand here, like in Kinlochleven. No, it's like Kinlochleven, like this loch near Glencoe.
Yeah.
Quite famous. Yeah.
Just up.
So
around,
you have like this small, I don't know how it's called, bridges, something like that, this wooden one. So I don't know why I try to avoid any mess on my pictures. So it's like the couple wants to stand there. Okay, let's do this. But I'm like, oh my gosh, this wooden parts here around, how to compose them inside.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. So you'd recommend that they don't stand there, that they go off to the...
I would, but it's not about me. It's about them and their wedding day, and they want to stand there, and it's their dream to be on this bridge, like on this wooden bridge or something like that. So yes, it's their dream. So it's a challenge for myself to do the pictures, which will be nice looking, or like, it's all about this parts. Like sometimes you have signs on the street and oh my gosh, the sign or fire exit.
Yeah, no, I get you with that. Plus we don't have Photoshop, so those, if that's where our camera is, that is what we're gonna be capturing. So during when the ceremony is happening, just for those who are wanting to get into elopement photography and they just don't know these things, do you move around during the ceremony? Is it quite comfortable for you to move around? Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I am moving so much. Even my husband, when he's standing, he's like, you are here, you are there. Sometimes when I'm taking pictures, it's like, maybe not during the ceremony. During the ceremony, I'm very calm, so I'm like trying tip-topping, even if I'm outdoor in my hiking boots. I'm like, tick, tick, go to the other side, tick, tick. So yes, I'm moving because it's nice to have like different angles of the ceremony.
Oh yeah, definitely. That actually
I remember being, I think it was Norway, where you had your big salopettes on and you were moving from one spot to another, and it was just the rubbing of the trousers together, and then
so
the crunch, loud.
By the way, I've never heard snow crunch so much in my life. Like I'm like, bloody hell, man! I'm so noisy here. Like, oh, so yeah.
So imagine so you're shooting in the castles, like inside as well. So are you trying to tiptoeing as well?
Yeah.
Moving from one side to another.
That's right. Yeah, I do something similar in the churches. You know how they've got the big pillars.
Yeah.
When I've been told not to move, but I need to move to do my job. So I'm like going from pillar to pillar very quickly, like, and then I'm hiding for a little bit. Did anyone see me? No. Good. Right. The next pillar. Yeah.
Like ninja style.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm clearly not as ninja as I would like to be, according to Greg. So that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to read something on your website. I can't remember where on your website I took this from. Probably your bio. You wrote, "I see beauty everywhere I look. Mm-hmm. I think you're beautiful just as you are, and that's why my signature editing style is romantic and natural."
Yeah.
So with that in mind, what do you look for when you frame an image and push the shutter button? Like, what catches your eye? What makes you go, that's a moment I want to capture?
So yes, it's a moment. So it's happening right now. So what I'm looking for, like expression, emotions, like even the light, how the light is lighting, how the light is going through the window, or when we are outside, like even the backdrop, how everything looks like, the angles. Like sometimes it's even when I talk with someone, so it's the same with photography, like when the couple looks at each other, sometimes it's just a moment when they look at each other in this specific way.
Yeah.
So like this is the beauty of everything, which I try to capture.
Yeah.
Which I want. Do not use the word try.
Because there is no
Which
try.
I want.
There is no
Yes.
try, there is only do.
No, I want to do. This is what I do.
Yeah.
I capture the beauty.
Nice.
Yeah.
How would you say you are in like interacting with a couple in the day? You talked about you like to listen. So how do you make them feel comfortable on a wedding day and get sort of the images that you want from them?
So I have very specific sense of humor. So my pictures are quite calm, but I laugh a lot during the shoot, especially when I have my camera and I'm taking the pictures. And for example, there is a couple kissing each other and I'm like, wow, yes, I love it. Oh, I love it. So I'm always laughing that I sound like a pervert. Sorry. So sometimes I talk the things like that to the couple, or sometimes because English isn't my native language, I am mixing hands with legs with heads, so it's like yoga stuff. So we are laughing as well from these things. And yes, I try to laugh a lot, joke a lot, talk with the couple. So we are just talking about random stuff, about what they are liking to do, what's their hobby, what their plans for the honeymoon even, why did, I know why they chose that specific location, but even when we are doing the ceremony, like during the photo shoot, I ask them again, why did you choose this location? Why did you choose this dress? So just random stuff to talk to the couple to make them relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just as well, you don't do video, by the way, because like there's some elopements or some weddings where Greg and I will just come back and we'll just say to each other, "Yeah, I hope they don't buy the raw footage." Because you can just hear our voice. Like it's just the worst. It's the worst.
My husband, he's like that. He's like, you are talking all the time. So even when he's doing some behind the scenes, it's like, it's your voice. You are talking again. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
So
struggle.
it's not me.
Yeah.
So it's not only me.
It's
You're
not
talking
only,
as well.
all
Not
the time.
only you.
All the time.
So I am normal.
Yeah. Oh, very much so. Or we're all just weird. I don't know. But
Yeah.
In fact,
and there's all sorts of things. By the way, I sing when I'm shooting. So like if I'm shooting with the couple and I'm interacting with them, that's one thing. Sometimes Greg will leave me little messages. So he shoots. He does kind of like voyeuristic type shots where he's like far away from someone, but he's like shooting from with a long focal length, or he'll just shoot me eating a canapé and make fun of me on camera. He leaves little messages so that when I'm editing, I come across them. I'm like, oh, you. They're not always nice. They're not always nice messages, Greg.
F-O! Yeah. So yeah, this is sometimes fun.
Yeah.
yeah.
Fun time.
Yeah.
Continuing on talking about like the couple shoot and interacting with them, you say on your website that you don't like to pose or try and engineer moments. So
Yeah.
how do you sort of, for want of a better word, pose couples, and how do you get them into the sort of movements and shapes that you want for the composition?
So it's mostly we start like with going for a walk, so they can walk. I like directing them sometimes because we are not on a photo shoot every day, so this is something new for us, and it's always like what to do with hands, what to do with our faces or something like that. So so the couples, they can always talk to each other, so they are talking to each other. I can like at some point I can say, okay, we can stop here, I have a nice view, can you stop here, can you hug each other? So from time to time it's like, I don't know, it's about, after my first workshop I have this thing about hands, how to set them, how they should look like. So that's why I try to be such a perfectionist during taking pictures and then editing them.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's about hands. So what you can do, so you can so this is what I tell to the couple.
Our audio listeners are like,
that.
what?
So
What is she doing?
what so I am touching my face, like gently touching my face. I'm just kidding. You need to watch it. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, so they can like play with. Yeah, this is another thing which, because I'm from Poland, so I can ask my couple, yes, you can start touching each other. And they're like, what? No, it's like about, you can caress it, like face, you can touch your hands, even like this small movements on your arms, head, something like that. So these are the moments which they can do in between.
Yeah, very cool.
So it's more like giving them actions to do so that they feel
exactly.
They don't feel they're posing. They're doing they're doing something rather than posing. Yeah. I like that.
Yes, exactly. So and then you can go for a walk. You can run if you want to. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I quite often get our couples to run. And sometimes they're not really up for
I love it.
But I like it as well, to be honest. But there was one time I forgot my glide cam, and I was like, I'll just do it anyway. And I was running. I mean, I was literally holding my camera in my hand, and I'm doing video. I'm shooting at 25p, so I'm not able to slow this down, and it's just me. I'm pointing the camera in roughly the right direction. I'm using autofocus to kind of keep them in focus, and I'm just running with them. And the footage looks absolutely just bonkers. It looks like there's no control. Everything's just shaking. And to be honest, I quite liked it, to be honest. Yeah.
I have no idea how you can do this. It's like practicing your hands. Do you use gimbal or anything like that?
I have a glide cam, which is like a gimbal, but it's physics based, so it's like a seesaw. So the weight is equal. The camera weight is equal to the weight on the bottom of it, so you can kind of move forward, and the whole thing will just kind of stay straight up. But to be honest, I want to. For years, Greg would joke with me that it was my crutch, that it was the thing that I couldn't do a wedding without, and I still love taking it to a wedding. There's certain things that I like doing with it, but I'm trying to not do that on elopements. So I haven't been recently, and I suppose now that with the new kit, that'll be something that I need to get used to. But yeah, I do. Really, I just want to buy a sling bag and have my 2 camera bodies with my 2 lenses in there, a drone, and that's like, I don't want to be carrying anything else really. So yeah, I'm just trying to cut down as much kit as I can. So
yeah,
I do use it, but I don't know. There's too much emphasis half the time on gimbals and stuff, and you can see there's companies out there, filmmakers out there that use them a lot, and they're very good at using them. Fire and Ice, their stuff is very gimbal heavy, but it's edited in such a unique way, and I really like that style. But it's just not for us. So I'm just trying to minimize, because I'm lazy. I'm an old man these days. I've been doing this for
I am 37. So
yeah. I mean, just yeah. Anyway. We don't really talk about. So we've obviously talked about what's in your bag. And all the little knickknacks that you carry around with you, but we don't really talk about things that maybe beginners don't think about. And obviously we talked about my waterproofs and the shh noise during a ceremony, but let's talk practical equipment for elopements, because this question pops up on forums and blogs all the time for some reason. People really struggle about what to wear at a wedding, and a lot of people have very strong opinions as to what to wear at a wedding and what not to wear. But let's focus on elopements, because there's more of a practical element I find with elopements. So let's start with your footwear. What boots do you wear? In fact, let's just go bottom up. What do you wear on your feet, your legs, your torso, your hat, just
not underwear.
Not underwear.
No, like I am wearing, but I'm not going to talk about it.
You heard it here first. Bernadeta does not wear briefs. No one knows.
I'm wearing, but I'm not talking about it.
Oh
so yes,
yeah.
Starting from my shoes.
Yes.
So I've been wearing Salomon shoes, size 5.
Okay.
But I think I need to find more waterproof. My husband is laughing that I walk like a tank. So I walk...
Okay.
Even if there is no option to walk there, I will manage to get there. So that's why I'm walking like a tank. I need much more proper shoes. So I need to buy a new one. I am using they should be waterproof, but after half year they are not. I have no idea why.
Yeah. I get you.
I am wearing hiking trousers, something what is waterproof. This is the most important. So waterproof trousers, waterproof jacket, always a hat because it's very windy in the Scottish Highlands, and I have problem with my sinus very often, like right now as well.
Yeah. Is it with the pollen? Is that?
I think yes, it started in Poland, so it wasn't so bad. I don't have it very often here, because I'm mostly wearing my hat almost all the time.
Got you.
I have gloves as well, mostly because it's cold in Glencoe, in Old Man of Storsky, this stuff. What else? Woolen jumpers. Depends if it's spring, summer, or autumn time. So something what's preferable. What else? I always have some hand warmers, but it's mostly for the couple. it's not about me. I'm not sure if you are even able to shoot with hand warmers. I haven't tried yet. So this is what I have. I am still trying to find a better waterproof jacket. I am using Mountain Warehouse at this moment. I have one waterproof jacket from Tretorn. It's a Norway company.
Okay.
Sean Bell is using this company as well.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So this one,
Yeah.
but I would like to find something warmer, which will be as well waterproof, because
that's just a shell, isn't it? The one that Sean Bell, I remember, his just a shell. So there's no, in fact, there's not even any. What did he say? There's not even, like, when you've got it on, it might keep the wet outside from coming in, but it doesn't really, it doesn't breathe.
Yeah.
So he still
ventilated.
Ventilated. He still does get wet, damp, I believe is the word that you used.
So I haven't used this Tretorn outside for photo shoot. I was using mostly Mountain Warehouse, but I would like to go, I don't know, maybe even with Rob or something like that. RAB?
A wrap. Yes.
Similar to Mountain Warehouse.
Yeah, I was going to say similar. Okay.
Something like that. But if you know anything else, what is much, much better, you can tell me your secret. I tend to just keep one very thin waterproof layer in my bag. It's a Rains. It's just what's that material? It's not tarpaulin, is it? No. Gore-Tex?
No, it's like a rubbery. It's like a rubbery material. Again, it doesn't breathe, but it's got little air holes around the armpits. I find that that's quite good to have on me. I did, when I bought it, it was a size bigger than I needed it, so I could wrap it around my camera gear if it downpoured. But over COVID and all that kind of good stuff, I haven't really gone back to the gym, so it fits me nicely.
But to be honest, I got wet only like 2 or 3 times, like completely wet. One was even before the ceremony, when we had a ceremony last year on the sky. And we checked the weather forecast a week before, day before, in the morning. It showed about 1-2% of the rain. So we went out, we parked the car, we started climbing, it started raining, so we were completely drenched that day, before the ceremony.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, we've not really been caught out in a full downpour. I feel like in Scotland, it can come really heavy and then leave quite quickly.
Yeah, that's true.
So quite often.
How do you deal with a couple who might be worried about the rain? Because obviously you mentioned that you're not worried about the rain and happy to shoot in it and you actually like it. So how do you deal with a couple who maybe are a bit like, oh no, it's going to rain, I'm a bit unsure?
I think most couples who arrived here to Scotland, they know that it might be raining, so they are prepared for this. And I as well, when I speak with the couple, even if it's just the first conversation, I always tell it's Scotland, so be prepared for the weather. It might be raining, it might be sunny, it might be cloudy, windy. We are not able to predict the weather, even the day before, even in the morning of the day of your ceremony. So they all are prepared.
So you cut it off before it gets to that nervous money on the
just
day.
in case, just in case. And I always mention, be ready, have some layers. We can make a break, so it's not like I have 4 hours coverage and we have to go through this 4 hours no matter what's happening. No, we can wait in the car. If the weather is bad, I have my jacket. The bride, she's wearing only her dress or the blanket, and that's all. So it's not about me, it's about them.
And do you find even if it is raining, that most couples, because you've had that conversation with them, that they're okay to be out in the rain?
If it's pouring, like heavy rain, we can make a break. So it's not a problem. If it's just drizzling or rainy a little bit, yes, we can do this.
Yeah.
And then quickly come back to the car.
Yeah,
And
no,
take a
very
hot
good.
bath.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm going to have a piece of clothing recommendation. I found these socks. They're called sealskin socks. They're not actually they're not actually sealskin. It's just the brand. Sealskin socks. They are 100% waterproof and breathable, and they are the best thing I have ever purchased. So
They're expensive though.
well. Yeah,
For a pair of socks.
For a pair of socks, sure, but your feet are going to remain completely dry. And you can get ankle versions of them. You can get normal size socks. Usually, like the first pair I bought, they went right up to my calf. And they are so good. It was a recommendation from Andrew Ray, who lives on the Isle of Skye. Like, so he's but absolutely, I actually go paddleboarding with them, and my feet still remain dry. They're amazing. So if you don't have money to spend on a very expensive waterproof new pair of boots, use your old boots and just buy those socks, because your boots will get wet but your feet will remain dry. They're amazing.
That's a good idea. A good idea. I have one waterproof socks. It's always my husband who is taking care of me, and he's buying me like this funny stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
So yes, I have one pair, but it's not from this company.
Ah, yes. Well, they're I would recommend them. They do. It feels kind of like not packaging foam.
I am looking them for.
There's like the sock, but there's like this kind of like plasticky layer on the inside, or there's whatever it is. I don't know. It kind of feels foamy. So if you have tight boots, you might need to loosen them off. But they are very good. I have to say, very good. And since buying my first pair, I've actually been buying more of the smaller pairs, and that's what I'll wear for Elopements. So they're really good. Probably the last thing I want to talk to you about, Bernadeta, is your colouring. Your colouring, because I realise we've been going on for quite some time, and we've still got the Q&A questions. If you're willing to stay on with us, I want to speak to you about your colour grading. Photographers don't call it colour grading, do they? That's a film term. Yeah. Do you? Okay. Because I am looking through your Instagram and your confidence with your greens. I am very jealous.
Yes.
I don't know if you've watched any of our films recently, but I just tend to warm them all up. I feel like I just want to start again with my colour grading. The way our films look, it's just very warm, and I do like the warmth of the I do like that, but it kind of kills our greens. But your greens here are delicious. I love them. So yeah, talk to us about your color grading and your approach to color.
So I am using Lightroom to edit my pictures. And yes, there was a time when I hated this color, like the greens. It was like I used to I love taking pictures outside, but because of the green, it was like I wanted, but at the same point, I tried to avoid it until I found the perfect preset, which I use till now with some small tweaks.
Okay.
So I use the preset from Archipelago Presets.
Okay.
From this company. I changed it a little bit, mixed with the preset from Meridian Presets. So this is how these colors, how I achieve these colors. Yeah.
When you pull your photographs into Lightroom and you apply the preset, do you do much more to the greens in particular, but obviously there's other colors in your portfolio, obviously. What's your general approach to the green? Do you pull them down? Do you desaturate? And by you, I mean what does the preset do?
I was quite lucky with the preset, so when I apply it, I just do some small tweaks with masks, but I don't touch the green at all. So this preset is like like the main ingredients, something like that.
Yeah, okay.
And yes, because I was struggling with doing the best green, with editing greens at all, when I found this one, so like I try to keep, like I'm keeping this preset and use it almost every time when I'm editing pictures.
Yeah.
So it's mostly thanks to the preset which I use.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting project shooting with these new kits, because they do render colors completely differently from other camera bodies. So it'll be an interesting journey for me.
I'm wondering as well how will that looks like, because each camera, even if it's the same gear, like maybe the same gear, different companies are using different colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and
yeah.
there's- yeah. I mean, so photographers, usually you just tend to shoot with raw. Whether that be compressed or uncompressed, not too much of a difference really, in terms of the color. I mean, but for video, you shoot in so many aspects. You can shoot in log, S-log, other log profiles, Cinetone, like, and every one of these has a color variant, and it's just it's very complicated. And I don't really like delving too much technically into all this malarkey. I just try to look at it as, I like this, I'm going to keep with this. I don't like this, I'm not going to deal with it. So yeah, that'll be a fun journey. If anyone has any advice, I mean, I don't want to be shooting in a log profile. I just don't. I've got other things to do with my time other than color grade everything to an nth degree. So we'll be shooting in Cinetone, but if you have any advice for me, send it through to our Instagram. I'll be very appreciative. Yeah. And someone's coming.
I thought that you have to shoot in this F-log or S-log or anything like that.
So the S-log is like, and there's different variants of the log.
Depends on camera.
Yeah, because in general you want to be shooting the flattest kind of profile that your camera can handle for the dynamic range. That's essentially why filmmakers do that, and then they pump the contrast back in, they pump the saturation back in, but it takes a little bit of tweaking. And to be honest, are your clients really going to know? I doubt it, to be honest. So yeah, just by saving the time, we shoot with those kind of colors baked in, and
Okay.
So that, yeah, fun color chat. But anyway, I haven't probably dove into that. All I know is I don't want to be shooting log. So hey-o. Yeah, well, thank you again. Thank you very much for joining us today. Like I said, this is a long form conversation that we like to have. But I'm not. The timer's under my laptop, so if I pull it out, it says 2 hours and 28 minutes and 50 seconds exactly. That's a long time. So we really do appreciate you coming on and talking to us. I hope it's been a good experience.
Yes, it was. And I have no idea. I think it's the same like with the brides, who are always very stressed before the ceremony. And it's only until the ceremony, and then everything's like... So it was like that with me before this conversation. Yeah. And first few minutes, and I was like, we are just chatting with each other.
I've had a blast. I hope you have too.
Yeah.
Yeah. People can find us at cinematefilms.co.uk on Instagram and Facebook. Don't judge our Instagram too harshly. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, you can join us on Patreon at patreon.com/perspective by Cinemate. For as little as £1, you can support the podcast, and also we are for the price of a coffee every month. You can get access to the Q&As and any other bonus content that we create. That's where that's going to live. And Did you hear how long it takes me to produce this podcast? For Greg to do this podcast? Throw money our way, please, or anything. We'd love you for it. But if you don't have any money to give, that's absolutely fine. You're still our best friends. You can hit that record button. You can hit that subscribe button to wherever you get podcasts. And if you're on a platform that you can leave reviews, please leave a good review, because I'll call you out if it's a shit review. You're lucky I haven't called out your name, Mr. Cruel person, who's like, oh, sorry, 2 stars, 3 stars for saying all the time. Hey, your guess is all the time. Yeah, well, how about you just don't listen, pal? No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I'll give you a nice shout out if you leave me a good review. My pals, my friends. However,
in the meantime,
5 minutes later,
enjoy your life.
The goal isn't to live forever. The goal is to create something that will.